Hello, welcome to my new office, and I'm taking longer and longer to do every single video, and that's because, believe it or not, I actually have a life outside of the videos. I'm not a content pumping machine, unfortunately for you. So you just have to bear with me every single time I decide to do a video. Usually, to be fair, I have a lot of free time. I just can't be bothered. So I think I might be honest about that. Anyway, before I get started with today's video, I'd like to mention my sponsor, Lawnmower Inc. I just came up with that on the spot. My impro is terrible. Anyway, that's them mentioned. So time for the video. My mum has a lot of weird dreams. Like, my mum is the only person on the planet stranger than I am. I'm pretty strange. I'll happily admit to being extremely odd, but my mum is on a whole different level. So, here's 3 dreams my mum has had over the last year that are just so bizarre that I couldn't have come up with them. The first one, my mum had a nightmare where my dad had been cheating on her, and he'd had three teenage sons whose names were Cassius, Akalaka, and Grandpa real name Sean. If you recognise those names, that's where I stole them from. I couldn't have come up with them by myself. So I decided to steal the names because they're too good to miss. And the personalities were all mine though. I made those up, and I made up the Steve Horseleg's name as well. Anyway, that wasn't even the nightmare bit. The nightmare bit was that she was talking with Dad in Starbucks, and the coffee was overpriced, and that made it a nightmare apparently. The second weird dream I'm going to mention is the dream involving my cat, Cosmo. Mum was driving Cosmo home from a night class for cats actually, not for cat owners, for cats. It's run by one of my old teachers at school. Cosmo had been trapped in something, but then he got out. Anyway, that's not the really weird part. The part on the way home, my mum saw a sign on the motorway saying, "Cat, if you have a cat in your car, you will be arrested." So my mum phoned my dad in a panic, and Dad said, "Oh, this is an easy fix. All you have to do is give Cosmo an empty packet of crisps, and then he'll blend in and look like a human." So my mum did that, and believe it or not, it worked. She got away with it. He looked like a human because he had an empty pack of crisps on his paw or something. I don't know where it was. I need to ask my mum again, but she probably won't remember. Then Dad magically walked into the driver's seat, so Mum didn't even need to phone him, because apparently he was in the driver's seat the entire time. Right, the final dream we're going to mention is possibly the most bizarre one. You can decide which of the 3 dreams is the most bizarre dream. The final dream is the one my mum had, where there were these rainbow gummy worms, but they weren't gummy worms, they were actually bear sperm. And my mum somehow knew they were bear sperm, because they burst out of the ground and then they hatched into more bears. I cannot make sense of that. I'm a psychology student and I cannot make sense of these dreams at all. I don't know the meaning behind them. This is just proof there is no meaning to dreams at all. You just need to look at my mum and her odd I could not have come up with that by myself. And they weren't around being scared. That's all I really remember of it, to be honest. But the fact that it was bear sperm was quite memorable. So, bye. I need to actually have a fulfilling, productive day full of nothing.